Okay, friends, we can start the lecture. So we have seen last class that how can you apply the triangular rule. So in today's class, we will be solving two examples, more examples, which has some variety, slight variety, and then I'll be giving you assignment similar to those examples. You can try solving during your holidays because this Friday we won't be able to meet and our next class will be on Tuesday. So in the during meantime, I'll be sending you a couple of 4 or 5 examples to you and you can just try based on what we have learned. Okay. So let me just write down the instruction. So there is one barge. Barge is something like a flat boat which is being pulled by the smaller boats. Of course, you will get the actual picture with, I mean, the real diagram in the textbooks you may see. There are smaller boats. So this bar is being pulled by these are called tugboats. And we have been given this information, that is, just a second, lecture share. Just, just give me 2 seconds. Sorry, friends. Actually, I suddenly somebody came and fine. So this is the information which is given to us. This angle is alpha. Let me write the instruction. A bar is pulled by two tugboats. If the resultant force of the force is exerted by the tugboats is 25 kilonewton. Okay, so resultant is already given and magnitude of the resultant is, first you have to read the problem, understand the problem. Okay, we will try to see how the first job is to construct the free body diagram. Okay, free body diagram is just show the forces acting on where we have to focus. Okay, so this is something like two smaller boat which is being pulled by one, stationary boat. Resultant is given 25 kilonewton force. 25 kilonewton force. 25 kilonewton force is exerted by the tugboats. 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 25 kilonewton force is exerted by the tugbo directed along the axis of the bar. Directed along the axis of the. All of you please mute. I think I hear some sound. Please don't switch on your microphone during the lecture. Unless I ask some questions or unless you want to ask something regarding this subject. Okay. Determine the tension in each of the ropes. So what we have to determine the tension in each of the ropes, knowing that alpha is equal to 45 degrees. This is one thing. And second, the value of alpha for which the tension in the rope 2 is minimum. Okay, let us understand and read the problem again. This is rope 1, this is rope 2. So as mentioned in the instruction, a barge is pulled by 2 tugboats. That means there is a force. There are 2 forces here. Those are tensile forces, right? Means at this moment, of course, you are pulling this. That means it is a tension, right? In this, so it is understood. Now, resultant force is acting roll number 106. Please mute. Okay, so resultant is exerted and direction of the resultant is already given to us. That is along the axis of the bars. That means resultant की जो direction है हमें already दे चुके हैं. That is along the axis of the bar. So this. So that information is with us. Of course, we have to use again the triangular rule or parallelogram law. These 2 rules can be applied anytime, right? These kind of examples. So you can see here, because this is here we do not bother much about the entire body of the bars when we draw the free body diagram. Okay, because our focus should be like at the center where every information is available, because there is nothing, there is no force which we can imagine within the body of the bar. There is nothing. Okay, only the force which we can imagine is pulled by, because this is stationary, nothing happens here. So we can just neglect the body of the bar and just imagine that particle B, and there are 2 forces. So this is something like free body diagram of this representation of this original diagram. So in applied mechanics you will see so many these kind of diagrams. Earlier in our coming classes I will be sharing with you the textbooks, so that you can also have a look at the diagram, and every time we don't have to draw the complex diagram. So this is something. Okay, now the resultant direction of the resultant is already given. So it is something like this. This is my resultant, that is a force. Okay, resultant of these 2 forces, rope 1 and rope 2. ये दोनों का resultant है वो दिया है already given in the instruction. Directed along the axis of the bar. What we have to determine is the tension in each of the ropes, knowing that alpha is equal to 45. Of course, the alpha is given 45. And here this angle is already given, that is 30 degree. So you can see here this is your 30 degree and this is your 45 degree. And given this condition, question number 1, that is tension in each of the ropes, knowing that alpha is 45. So our objective is to determine the tension. So we can simply apply the sine rule, simple sine rule. Okay, so first we construct the parallelogram law, parallelogram. So parallel to this vector, okay, this vector parallel to this vector, then I can, I mean, I can always draw this vector also. Either you can use this triangle or this triangle. That is up to you. Okay, I can use while applying the sine law, applying triangular rule, and applying sine law. These two things we have to apply, right? So either I can use this triangle or this triangle. Let us use this triangle. So force in this becomes force in rope 1, this becomes force in rope 2, and resultant is already given. Okay, now coming to the angle, I need to know the angle of this smaller triangle. So it is obvious that this is horizontal. So it is easy to understand that if this is 30 degree, this is 30 degree from the trigonometry. Okay, so I can always figure it out, the angle between this um, point, these two vectors. So it turns out to be 40. So we can, of course, this angle has to be 45 degree, 180 degree minus 45 minus 30. Okay, so you are getting 105. This angle has to be 105. So we can simply apply the, rule. So let us call this is the tension in rope 1 and tension in rope 2. So T1 divided by this angle, that is sine 45, then T2 divided by this angle, that is sine 30, and resultant, which is given 25 kilonewton, divided by 105 degree, right? Sine 105. So all of you calculate this T1 and T2. So first thing is already done, and then once you get the answer, we will discuss about second thing. That's a simple procedure, very straightforward. So from your calculation, just get me the answer for T1 and T2.
Ma'am,
Uh,
tension in rope A is 18.31 kilonewton
yes, very
and
good.
tension in rope B is 12.95 kilonewton.
Okay, very good. Yeah, it's correct. Okay, everybody should get this answer. These are the final answer for the tension in rope 1 and rope 2. Okay, now focusing on the second part, that value of alpha. We need to, let us assume in first case value of alpha is given, that is 45 degree. But in second case, value of alpha for which the tension in the rope 2 is minimum. So alpha is unknown to us first. So again we try to focus. This alpha is unknown. I repeat this triangle again. This is now unknown. Okay, I'm just drawing the dotted line now, because this alpha may vary. We need to find out the value of alpha, that is angle, for which the tension in the rope 2 is minimum. मतलब ये जो rope 2 है, try to understand, okay, try to understand, ये जो rope 2 है उसको उसकी वैल्यू हमें मिनिमम चाहिए, and I need to understand at which angle. It is very simple, I will explain you at which angle this value should be minimum. So logically we try to, you know, this is a vector, right? This is a force vector sort of, and you know that graphically, you imagine the graphically, let's say if I am having force like this, I am having force like this, I am having force like this. So magnitude wise, suppose I draw the line, this is let's say 5 centimeter. I draw the line 5 centimeter, assuming 5 centimeter same as 5 kilonewton. But then I draw another line which is let's say 7 centimeter, okay, which has a 7 kilonewton magnitude. So obviously this line which is 90 degree and this line, what is the difference? I know that hypotenuse always, I mean you go on drawing the, you know, these are the lines, the length is more as compared to this perpendicular line. So we can conclude from this, because it's a graphic representation of the vector, always we imagine, right? If I draw the perpendicular line that is 90 degree, it is smaller than the other lines, right? So other force lines. So it is obvious that if I vary my angle alpha with this way, I get the minimum value only when this vector makes the angle with the other vector, other force vector 90 degree. So this is 90 degree. So it's quite logical that alpha, I need to determine the alpha when I am having this as your 90 degree. But then how to use it in our calculation purpose, that I make the triangle newly constructed, where I have concluded that this force is, when it is 90 degree, this force in tension rope 2 is always minimum. Okay, this is going to give you minimum value of this. So I have to determine the alpha. Okay, so this alpha is unknown. Okay, and this is already given, that is 30 degree. So again I apply the same sign rule, like T1 is as it is. So T1 हम utilize कर सकते हैं, T1 हम बाद में use कर सकते हैं, but resultant is already given because it's a horizontal line and this kilonewton is already given. So due to this T2, T1 may also change, right? So right now don't consider this T1. This T1 may also change because T2 is different and these angles between two vectors are different. Okay, so what we do is we try to actually again apply the sign rule. So sin alpha divide by this side, that is T1, then sin 90 degree divide by resultant, and sin 30 divide by T2. So always when you write the sign rule, you just have to check always that which values are unknown to me first, which I cannot determine, and which is known, which I can determine. Okay. So अगर यहाँ में मुझे दोनों value मालूम है, then definitely I am going to use this. And then यहाँ में देखो दो चीजें जो है unknown है, that is this is unknown and this alpha is unknown, right? T1 is also unknown, alpha is also unknown, so I cannot use it, right? With one equation I can find only one unknown. Simultaneous equations आपने 12th standard में पढ़ा होगा, from logic, I mean mathematically, when I am having three unknowns, I need to have three equations, right? You must have studied this x1, a11, then a12, x2 plus a13, x3. ये आपने मैथमेटिक्स में सीखा होगा. Then I have 21, let's say x1 plus a22, x2 plus a33, x3. See, logically, I will try to tell you why there is a correlation between here and that. And in future also we are going to use it. So I'm just trying to explain you that simultaneous equation. Okay, simultaneous equation, sorry, here it will be 2, 3, 3, 3, x3 plus b3. These simultaneous equations, when I am having n unknowns, I need to have n equations. Okay. For example, here x1, x2, x3 is unknown. So there are three unknowns, then I need to have three equations. Similarly, if one unknown, I can have two unknowns in one equation, right? I can have only one unknown when I am having one equation. Finally, it is resultant into one single equation, right? When you bring this denominator side, multiply on the right hand side. Okay, so finally we are going to use this equation, these two pairs, to get the value of T2 first. So T2 will be something, I may write T2.
Ma'am, 12.5.
Yes, yes, very good. T2 is 12.5. So 30, 25 divided by sine 90. T2, and then you find T1, 12.5. Okay, and then use this. Once I know this, you can use either this combination, sorry, the known combination, okay, and then you can use the other one. Okay, so how will you find T1 now?
Ma'am, hypotenuse rule.
Yes. Okay. So two unknowns, we cannot use this equation because there are two unknowns. So simply here you can apply the rule for T1 is something, which component is it, cosine or?
मैम अपने को अल्फा भी तो पता चल ही सकता है.
क्या चीज?
मैम अल्फा अपने को पता चल सकता है, लाइक
हाँ
ट्राइंगल है तो 60 आएगा वो तो.
हाँ ठीक है. हाँ, अल्फा मालूम पड़ गया, then it is okay. Then you can find, then you can use this equation also. Okay, nothing wrong. I mean, you can use this pair if you are able to determine the alpha, right? 180 degree minus 90 minus 30. So I think this turns out to be 90 minus 30, and this turns out to be 60 degree. So I am having this is equal to 60 degree, and then you use this rule, or you can use the trigonometry, the Pythagoras rule. So T1 turns out to be,
मैम T1 equals to 21.65 kilometer.
yes. Very good. So T1 turns out to be this. So we are able to complete this example. Now we will take another example. So I am asking you one exercise, मतलब assignment में इस टाइप क्या रहेगा, जहाँ पे भी आपको अगर ये मिनिमम वाला कुछ पूछा है, then you have to use this type of things. Minimum force तो 90 डिग्री लेना है, and then triangular rule is as such very straightforward. बट यहाँ पे एक चीज ऐसी दिया गया है जो रिजल्टेंट है, जो हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सिस से मैच हो रहा है. Now we will take one example where resultant direction is not given. Okay, and in that case, how will you apply the triangular rule? So that's the second type of example where here it was very straightforward and easy thing because the direction of the resultant was already given. That is, it was easy to construct the triangle easily and use this sine rule. बट अगर नहीं दिया है तो हमें पहले कोसाइन रूल अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, फिर साइन रूल अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. विल सी दैट एग्जांपल नाउ. सो लास्ट क्लास वाला एग्जांपल में हमने भी वैसा टाइप का ही किया था. लास्ट क्लास वी हैव सॉल्व्ड वन एग्जांपल where even we could have the angles between two vectors. So एक एग्जांपल ऐसा लेते हैं इवन जिसमें एंगल्स बिटवीन टू वेक्टर्स आर नॉट, द इंफॉर्मेशन इज नॉट फुल्ली गिवन. ओके, एंड देन combination of sine rule and cosine rule, how you are going to apply, that is a tricky part. So let us try to see that example now. I'll just draw one diagram where, okay, so again there is a car, and how this example is different than the above example, that you should be able to figure it out. So this is 4 kilonewton is given. This car is being pulled by 2 ropes, kilonewton. Now of course horizontal line, the angle of the horizontal line and these two vectors makes that angle is given to us. But here the other informations are not given. So we need to determine just the direction, resultant force and the direction. So these two things we have to determine. So let us try to see how we can solve. This may appear easy, but it is not easy. Why? Because resultant और direction दोनों कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन हमारे पास नहीं है. ठीक है, पहले केस में रिजल्टेंट की जो डायरेक्शन थी that was already there with us. Direction was given, so we could directly apply the sine rule. Okay, now if I draw the free body diagram of this, you can see something. Assume, of course we have to use the parallelogram. So you draw the parallel vector to this vector B. This is your vector C. This is 2 kilonewton, this is 4 kilonewton. Okay, now if the direction of the resultant is not given, I don't draw the straight line. Okay, I will draw the line where some other angle. Sorry, I will just draw a bigger picture so that it is more clear. Once free body diagram is there and triangular rule is made, things are very straightforward. So I am drawing this line. Now I show the resultant somewhere not at the straight line but with some angle. This is your straight line. And this is my resultant, assuming the resultant force. I use a parallelogram law. Okay, this is your vector B, this is your vector C, and this is again your vector B. So this is its value is given. This is 2 kilonewton, this is 4 kilonewton. And okay, now tricky part is whether it is possible for me to understand this total angle. Once I know this total angle, it may be possible for me. Okay, this angle is given, that is 25 degree. आपको हॉरिजॉन्टल के साथ ये वेक्टर का जो एंगल है वो 25 डिग्री है. ओके, मतलब हॉरिजॉन्टल के साथ वेक्टर सी का जो एंगल है वो 25 डिग्री. एंड वी ऑल्सो हैव this angle alpha, let us call this angle alpha, which is not known to me. Even this angle which is not known to me, this angle is not known to me, but resultant के साथ b vector उसका angle भी मुझे मालूम नहीं है. Only thing information which is I can have is this angle, and how we can relate this angle is, supposing I draw the vertical line here. ओके, सो यहाँ पे भी आप वर्टिकल लाइन एक ड्रॉ कर दो. ओके, नाउ if vertical line and this angle between vector C and B, angle between vector C and vertical line, and angle between vector B and vertical line. So how can we determine that? You already have this, right? Just forget about where that vector is going. It is already going in a proper direction because we are already using this rule parallelogram. अगर वेक्टर बी वही डायरेक्शन में पैरेलली जा रहा है, वेक्टर सी भी वही डायरेक्शन में पैरेलली जा रहा है, उसका एंगल वर्टिकल के साथ दिस इज 90 minus 30, that is 60 degree, and this is 90 minus 25. So how much? 90 minus 25, 65. So what can we do is angle between vertical and vector C, blindly write here 65 here, and angle between vector B and vertical line, blindly write here 60 degree. So ऐसे करके आपको इमेजिन करना है. So just relate these two diagrams. सिर्फ वेक्टर देखना है और वर्टिकल के साथ कौन सा एंगल बनाता है वो देखना है. यहाँ पे भी वेक्टर देखना है, वर्टिकल के साथ क्या है, हमने वर्टिकल लाइन यहाँ पे इमेजिनरी लाइन खींची है ताकि हम पूरा एंगल कैलकुलेट कर सकें. So now I have got this angle, right? 60 plus 65 degree. So 60 plus 65 is something 125, and it is possible for me to use now because I know the value of this magnitude of this vector, magnitude of this vector. I can find resultant now. I can apply cosine rule. Okay, so cosine rule is what? R square B square plus C square minus 2 times BC, this angle. Okay, resultant के सामने वाला जो एंगल है वो लेना है. तो let me call this angle as A. cos A. तो ये कोसाइन रूल है हमारा. एक मिनट, हाँ वो स्क्वायर, what is that formula? I think
मैम यही है.
it is the same formula, right? Okay, so we can take the square root finally. So b square क्या है 4 square plus 2 square minus 2 bc. So b and c cos a is 125. तो इससे आपको रिजल्टेंट मिल जाएगा.
मैम 5.4.
हाँ 5.4. Yes, very good. So 5.4 is answer, kilonewton. Okay, now we have to calculate the direction. So how can we calculate the direction? Sine rule, right?
मैम डायरेक्शन किसके रिस्पेक्ट से लेनी है? ए के, बी के या एक्सिस से?
हाँ एक्सिस, x axis के with respect to x axis.
Okay.
That direction, yes. So this we need to find out finally this direction. I mean this angle. So first you need to, because I know r, value of r, first you can calculate this angle, I think, and then you determine this angle. So जो एंगल मिलता है उसमें से आप 25 डिडक्ट कर देना. नहीं पहले देखो एक मिनट. हाँ
मैम रिजल्टेंट अबाउ द एक्सिस आएगा.
No, but have you calculated direction?
हाँ मैम डायरेक्शन 11.5 है.
11.5. Yeah, looks okay. I think it turns out to be 12 degree.
हाँ मैम.
Yeah, turns out to be 12 degree. But how have you calculated the angle? By applying sine rule?
मैम एक फॉर्मूला है tan alpha equal to a sin 55 upon B plus A cos 55.
What was that formula? 10
Alpha
हाँ
equal to A sin 55. मैम जो एंगल ए और बी के मतलब बी और सी के बीच में मतलब वो
B और C वाला
मैम स्टार्टिंग में जो 4 और 2 था ना उनके बीच का एंगल अब हाँ
ओके दिस इज 55 टोटल
हाँ
हाँ
और डिनोमिनेटर में b प्लस a cos 55. मैम इससे जो अल्फा मिलेगा ना वो b के रिस्पेक्ट में मिलेगा
हम्म
और उससे हम 25 डिग्री सब्ट्रैक्ट कर देंगे
हम्म या
इसमें
बट या ये कौन सा फॉर्मूला लेकिन उसको बोलेंगे हम कुछ
पता नहीं बट इससे मिल जाता है आंसर
yeah very good you know because you know this formula otherwise we can go the usual way okay that is a sine rule go systematic way because see ये formula कहाँ से आया मालूम नहीं है you can use this formula as long as your answer is coming correct okay you are getting 11.5 it is closer to 12 degree okay and that 12 degree is the answer you are getting the positive direction we will try to see if you are able to apply the sine rule let can you do it from the sine rule it is possible right resultant मिल गया and then sine 125 degree uh, इसको अल्फा बोलेंगे पहले साइन अल्फा 2 डिवाइड बाय साइन अल्फा so इससे अल्फा मिलेगा but how much is the alpha then so sine 125
मैम 42.84 आ रहा है
हाँ आप वो मेथड भी यूज करो कोई बात नहीं बट सी आई एम गेटिंग साइन अल्फा समथिंग लाइक दिस सो इफ यू टेक द इनवर्स इट इज 17 डिग्री आ रहा है अल्फा so this angle is 17 degree and then you take the summation of 180 degree and deduct that 125 and 17 degree so 180 minus 60 125 minus 17 degree let me see how much you are getting 180 minus 125 minus 17.66 you are getting 37 so 37 में से अगर 25 करोगे हाँ व्हाट यू आर टेलिंग इज राइट ये ऊपर आ रहा है ठीक है क्योंकि 25 से 37 ज्यादा है राइट दिस एंगल टर्न्स आउट टू बी 37
यस मैम
यस यस गुड सो 37.34 जब भी आप दिखाते हो 25 से डोंट से अल्फा भले मैंने रिजल्टेंट नीचे ड्रॉ किया है 25 के नीचे ड्रॉ किया है बट एक्चुअल में हमें मिल रहा है 37 तो लॉजिकली डोंट शो 25 से 37 कम नहीं हो सकता है सो अवर रिजल्टेंट टर्न्स आउट टू बी somewhere like this okay and then 37 minus 25 so that turns out to be 12 degree so anyway you can use this way also you can use this way also this is more straightforward here you have to remember the formula and also the angle and other stuff so this is 12.34 and whenever you want to show the resultant just show like because it's the positive from the x-axis counterclockwise you are getting ये मेरा रिजल्टेंट मिल रहा है। जब भी आपको डायरेक्शन मेजर करना है, पॉजिटिव एक्स एक्सिस से आप काउंटर क्लॉकवाइज डायरेक्शन में मेजर करो, दैट इज 12.32. So always write, whenever in the example it is asked that you have to find the resultant as well as the magnitude, so you write down the magnitude also, that is 5.4. This is how you have to represent the answer. Okay, so this is your resultant, 5.4 kilonewton, and the direction you have to show like this: x axis counterclockwise direction, whatever angle you are getting, degree, you can write. Okay, now what I suggest is, because we have time, I will discuss the examples which I am planning to give you in the assignment. Those are simple examples, so we can discuss that and you can solve actually. So let me, and next class we will slightly change the topic where several forces are there, more than two forces. क्योंकि हमने अभी जो भी एग्जाम्पल किए हैं उसमें देर आर टू फोर्सेस, ओके, ओनली टू फोर्सेस. कोई भी अभी जो असाइनमेंट है उसमें भी नॉट मोर देन टू फोर्सेस. सो व्हेन यू हैव मल्टीपल फोर्सेस, हाउ कैन यू फाइंड द रिजल्टेंट, हाउ कैन यू फाइंड द कंपोनेंट्स. ओके, ये दोनों कंपोनेंट बोलते हैं. एंड देन व्हेन यू हैव सेवरल फोर्सेस, हाउ विल यू convert resultant into, you know, components and components into resultant, but more than two forces and maybe concurrent or coplanar forces. कोप्लानर मतलब एक ही प्लेन के अंदर. फॉर एग्जांपल यहाँ पे भी एक्स एंड वाई प्लेन में आपके फोर्सेस अप्लाई हो रहे हैं. ओके, लेट मी क्विकली ओपन दैट असाइनमेंट. इट इज इन द ड्राफ्ट वर्जन, बट देन I may add one or two examples. Let me see. So have you all understood? I mean, any doubt or anything? Other students, those who are doing, I think they are clear. But any other students, if you are having doubt, please ask me, because every problem is unique. In applied mechanics, again I am telling you, it is just like mathematics course. You have to practice, and there are variety of examples. So if you practice variety of examples, then you will be able to solve. देर इज नो वन सिंगल ट्रिक. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ये एग्जाम्पल के अंदर हमें कुछ और दिया था, यहाँ पे कुछ और इंफॉर्मेशन दी है, ठीक है. सो नॉट एवरी टाइम सिचुएशन इज सेम. ओके, सो अनलेस एंड अंटिल यू प्रैक्टिस, you won't be like it is very difficult to be confident, right? आप इसको कुछ रट्टा मार के नहीं कर सकते हो, आपको सॉल्व करना ही पड़ेगा एग्जाम्पल, ठीक है. सो मेरा ये सजेशन है, आप प्रैक्टिस करो. जो भी असाइनमेंट्स या टेक्स्ट बुक भी हम शेयर करेंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, दीज आर द एग्जाम्पल्स विच आई हैव टेकन फ्रॉम सम एक्सरसाइज ऑल्सो, बैक साइड ऑफ द बुक. Exercise where solution is may not be given, but backside answer is given, so you have to think and solve. It is not very straightforward. Okay, that how can we, um, again simple, not very difficult, but still, I mean, there is always a trick, so you have to think about that. Okay, now let me open and share the assignment to you so that you can open the file. Okay. Okay, this is the assignment, and we will discuss just the strategy of solving this assignment. एक मिनट, शेयर किया आपको. Okay, so question number 1 is, two forces are applied shown to a hook. Determine the magnitude and direction of the resultant using the triangular rule. So this is very similar to the example which we have covered in the last class. और इसके अंदर आपको क्या करना है, पहले उसका फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम कैसा होगा. सेम वे लाइक मेरे पास अगर दो वेक्टर है, मुझे ये एंगल और ये एंगल मालूम है. सो मैं फर्स्ट आई विल कंस्ट्रक्ट द पैरेललोग्राम लॉ, आई मीन अप्लाई दैट एंड जस्ट ड्रॉ द रिजल्टेंट. एंड सेम वे आपको करना है, क्योंकि ये एंगल एक्सटेंड करके ये दोनों के बीच में जो एंगल दिया है, okay, this angle perhaps you have to find out. Okay, this is 45 degree which is given, Okay, the angle between two vectors, which is given 45 degree. And this angle is given 30 degree. So just see how can you use this 30 degree also. Whether it is useful, sometimes it may be useful or may not be useful. We do not know. You have to see the same way, like the resultant. Again, the direction may not be known to you unless and until it is given the direction is given in the horizontal or something. So from these 180 minus 45, you can always, resultant, always you can apply this rule first, cosine rule first, and then you find out the resultant, and just see how can we use this information.
मैम आपने असाइनमेंट शेयर किया वो देख नहीं रहा.
Sorry. Okay, now can you see this?
नो मैम.
अभी भी नहीं दिख रहा है. एक मिनट. I will share the screen. Now can you see?
यस मैम.
Okay. So just refer our last class lecture example. I think it is very similar to this. What I was trying to explain to you is this. कि आप पहले तो रिजल्टेंट ढूंढ लेना ये एंगल बना के, फिर ये 30 डिग्री कहाँ पे काम आ रहा है वो देख लो. Angle between this vector and the horizontal, that is given, but whether it is possible for you to get this angle, I think you will be able to get, because angle between vertical and these two vectors can be known to you from this. Means यहाँ पे एक vertical line अगर खींचोगे आप, ऊपर एक वर्टिकल लाइन यहाँ पे खींच लेना, ये एंगल ढूंढ लेना, एंड देन यू विल बी एबल टू गेट दिस एंगल एक्चुअली. ओके, रिजल्टेंट के साथ ये जो एंगल है वो आपको मिल सकता है. I mean, just try. If you can't solve, then we will see in the class. Okay, but don't expect me to solve everything, even the assignment problem, because these are similar and simple trigonometry. You can apply. Okay. इसके आंसर्स है मेरे पास, एक बार आप सॉल्व कर लो, फिर मैं आंसर एक बार वेरीफाई कर लेंगे हम. I will share the answer also with you, but first tell me that you are able to solve it. Okay, so this is similar to last class. Okay, now this is something, knowing that the tension in the rope is this, determine the trigonometry and the magnitude and direction of the force, so that resultant is in the vertical direction. So this is again very similar to the example which we have covered today. Okay, यहाँ में vertical direction में already resultant दे दिया है. Resultant is vertical force. मतलब आपको resultant का direction मालूम है तो apply just sine rule directly, तो आपको force P मिल जाएगा. उसके बाद ये example है, two forces P and Q are applied to the lid of the storage bin. Knowing the resultant, I mean these forces, determine from trigonometry the magnitude and direction of the resultant of the two forces. So this example is similar to the last, सबसे लास्ट में अभी जो हमने किया है उस टाइप का होगा, जहाँ पे रिजल्टेंट का डायरेक्शन आपको नहीं दिया है. ठीक है, यहाँ पे रिजल्टेंट का डायरेक्शन नहीं दिया है, यहाँ पे रिजल्टेंट का डायरेक्शन दिया है. सो दिस इज इजी फॉर यू. ओके, हियर व्हाट इज द कंडीशन? हियर आल्सो रिजल्टेंट डायरेक्शन इज नॉट गिवन. सो वेरेवर, और मिनिमम वाला एक कॉमन है, वो आप याद रख लेना, क्योंकि ऐसे एग्जांपल्स भी है. I will add one example of this type if possible, but just 90 डिग्री ले लो, जहाँ पे मिनिमम फोर्स ढूंढना है वहाँ पे 90 डिग्री ले लो, द एंगल बिटवीन दैट वेक्टर एंड द अदर फोर्स. ठीक है, उतना आपको याद रखना है. तो बट आई विल ट्राई टू इंक्लूड दैट एग्जाम्पल ऑल्सो. So is it possible for you to solve these examples?
Yes ma'am.
Okay, so when will you submit? I mean, next Monday you can just submit, I think.
मैम काय में करके देना है?
क्या?
हम सॉल्व नॉर्मल अपनी नोट्स में करके देना.
हाँ हाँ, एक काम करो, A4 साइज में करो, A4 साइज पेपर में कर दो. मुझे, हाँ मंडे से तो आप फिजिकली आने वाले हैं क्लासेस में, तो मुझे फिर एक नोटबुक बना दो एक अप्लाइड मैकेनिक्स के लिए, क्योंकि और भी असाइनमेंट्स आएंगे आपको प्रैक्टिस के लिए। सो रादर देन ए4 साइज क्यों, क्योंकि ब्लैंक पेपर होते हैं, वो दिखने में अच्छा दिखता है। लाइक आप जो वेक्टर डायग्राम वगैरह बनाते हो, सो वो जो लाइनिंग वाला पेपर्स होता है, रूल्ड पेपर्स, उसमें वो ठीक से क्लैरिटी के साथ दिखता नहीं है। सो आई सजेस्ट दैट इवन इफ यू आर यूजिंग notebook or paper whatever, just use the blank paper and अगर फिजिकल कॉपी मुझे आप दिखा दो क्लास में, उसके बाद आप सॉफ्ट कॉपी भी मुझे भेज सकते हो। एक बार असाइनमेंट हो जाए तो मुझे सॉफ्ट कॉपी भेज देना, वो भी चलेगा। तो आपके इवैल्यूएशन के लिए वेदर हार्ड कॉपी और सॉफ्ट कॉपी, बट हार्ड कॉपी में करना ही है, एक बार तो करना पड़ेगा आपको। तो जब आप क्लासरूम में आते हो तो मुझे आप इंडिविजुअल स्टूडेंट दिखा दो कि मैंने ये प्रॉब्लम खुद से सॉल्व किया है करके, एंड दैट टाइम आई विल बी गिविंग यू द आंसर। तो अभी हम लोग मिलेंगे, नेक्स्ट ट्यूसडे मिलेंगे, तब आप मुझे दिखा दो फिजिकल हार्ड कॉपी में। एंड आई विल आल्सो शेयर विद द अदर ग्रुप द सेम असाइनमेंट, अदर ग्रुप विल आल्सो बी डूइंग इट। ओके, सो दैट इज ऑल। सो एनी क्वेश्चंस? इज दैट क्लियर?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so I think we can end today's class, and I will share in Microsoft Team. I will be sharing the assignment. Okay, so just refer your teams. I will also share the books. So ये जो examples दिए हैं मोस्टली बुक के एक्सरसाइज के हैं, तो आपको डायरेक्ट आंसर नहीं मिलेगा, बट आपको सोच के जो हमने क्लास में किए उसी टाइप के हैं, तो आपको असाइनमेंट में इतनी डिफिकल्टी नहीं होगी। सो आप अपना टीम्स देख लेना आज या कल में, मैं फाइनलाइज करके आपको असाइनमेंट भेजूंगी। एंड नेक्स्ट क्लास के हम मल्टी फोर्स, लाइक मल्टीपल फोर्सेस, हाउ टू गेट द रिजल्टेंट एंड हाउ टू रिजॉल्व इट, दोज आर आल्सो सिंपल मेथड्स। सो 2 डायमेंशन एक बार हो जाए, उसके बाद हम 3D करेंगे, ठीक है। सो 3D विल बी also interesting, where you bring the concept of unit vectors and vector algebra and all. Okay, so I think we can end this meeting. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we can end this meeting.